Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. Today we'll be sharing part 5 of my 5-part conversation with Dicken and Natasha Swerdloff, the co-authors of the book Coming Home. And this whole week has been in aid of a 4-day retreat that the three of us will be leading in Ojai, California in February 2018. And the retreat is called Silent Mind, Beautiful Feeling, Experiencing the Heart of the Three Principles. And you can learn more about it at michaelneill.org/silent mind. And today we're going to be exploring what Sid Banks called the ultimate answer.
Dicken, in the first podcast in the series, you talked about how this space of the silent mind, in terms of Sid Banks describing it as the ultimate answer. And both you and Natasha in subsequent episodes talked about how as you've been able to drop out of the conceptual mind, as you've been able to drop more into the unknown, to hang out with the friend that you talked about so beautifully in the last episode, that you've just kind of known what to do. It's become apparent, it's become obvious. You feel, Natasha, you described it as not making decisions. I wonder if Dicken, you could take us a little deeper into this idea of the ultimate answer.
Well, when I heard about this space that we've been talking about in each of these episodes, the space within, this always present space beyond or before or behind the limitations of our ideas, that when I first heard that if you touch that space, it must create something beautiful, and what it brings to you in terms of feeling or perception or movement or ideas will be absolutely perfect for you given who you are and what situation you're in at that moment. It sounded to me, that sounded like way too good to be true, that it could be the ultimate answer, that if I touch that space, I'll be guided in the direction that's perfect for me at that moment. So literally, Michael, for 2 years, I tested it, if you will. I got extremely interested in this and curious. It was the only thing I was interested in really finding out more about for that period of time. So every single time I didn't feel close to my wife, Koizi, every time I thought I had a problem or an issue, or I was confused, or I was stressed, or I was really upset, I said, well, if I touch that space, will it guide me perfectly? Is that true? Boy, did I learn a lot, because I often thought I knew what answer would be right for me at that moment. I thought I knew what idea or feeling or what I should do if I got the right answer. And that was one of the first things I learned, is that you never know what's going to come to you fresh and new. And once I started to accept that, like, for example, if I had a problem and I got really quiet, often I would just feel peaceful and nothing else. And I say, well, now I feel peaceful, but what's the answer? You see, I missed it. Feeling peaceful and going about my day peacefully was the answer, and it was perfect. And then later on, something different might come. And it might be to go for a walk on the beach, or to make a phone call, or to respond to an email I had at work, or who knows. But I started seeing that when I allowed that space to, in a sense, guide me, and it felt then wisdom was was more of just a movement. It would just move me here, or I'd stand up, or I'd sit down, or I'd say something, or I'd go for a walk, or it'd move me. And that was when I started realizing that wisdom arises before it becomes concept and ideas. And it can move us and enliven us and bring us feeling that's uplifting or nourishing. And so
I love that, because I think so often I hear the word wisdom and equate it with words.
Yes, most people do, are insights they equate with word, rather than going within and experiencing life from within, the sight from within, insight. And when it gets too equated with words, it's too easy for people to look for something to grab onto, and people will try to hold on to the words. And the true beauty of insight is, if you have an insight, if you hold on to the words, you kill the insight. If you don't hold on to the words, you're just living in that feeling. And the wisdom is in that feeling, and it keeps unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. In other words, you keep orienting toward that space. You stay orienting toward that space, and it's so generous that it'll keep unfolding. You look toward the psychological and try and hold on to it, and it short circuits that natural process.
Well, in the space within, I talk about it in terms of one problem, one solution. That the only problem is we lose touch with that space and get caught up in psychological, and the only solution is and you guys in your book Coming Home speak to the same thing in a different way. Natasha, for you, how do you equate coming home with this idea of the ultimate?
I'm gonna say some of the things that what Dicken just said explained it really well. But for me personally, there's this sense of, for instance, I had a very practical issue last week here on my vacation, and I got caught up in the fear of what was happening for a moment. And then in the fear, and it happened by itself, it wasn't something that I was doing. There was just a sense of it's taken care of already. I didn't know where that came from. It wasn't a voice, it wasn't something speaking to me. There was a sense that just kind of, I fell into home again. And all the thinking that I'd been having that was creating, of course, all the worry I had, just fell away in an instant. And even though it took about 4 or 5 days before the thing fell into place, there was this deep sense of knowing that it was already taken care of. Wordless, knowing, without a doubt. And that's for me the way that there's this answer that I know it intellectually, but I can know it as a feeling.
And I think that's one of the things that when somebody tries to engage casually in this conversation and go, yeah, just give me the 2-minute version, right? Like you know, these business books where you don't have to read the book, we'll do the 5-minute summary for you. Really miss out. I actually remember the first talk I gave on the principles was for a solopreneur summit. And I was quite proud of it. I thought I'd done a nice job for my first time out. And I played it for a few of my mentors in the community, and they were all horrified. And they were like, really? This was, you gave this to us because you wanted to impress us? And I was like, what did I miss? So I went back and listened to it, and I realized what they'd done is they had this software that cut all the pauses out of the conversation, so that you just got the words, so that you could get the benefit of the lecture in less time.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, that cut the feeling, that cut the space, that cut what was between and beyond the words out. And so you just got me talking a lot, as if that conveyed anything. And I'd never seen such a tangible example of how what we're looking for is, as we've said, it's the silent mind, it's the beautiful feeling, it's beyond the words, it's deeper.
Since Natasha's in Hawaii, we can use an ocean metaphor, but
Nice.
I like that. I like that notion that if you're in the ocean and it's turbulent, it's really noisy and disorienting on the surface. You go a foot deeper and it's quieter. And you go deeper and it gets quieter, and then it's even still. And that's why I like the metaphor of depth. It's still just a metaphor. It's still a way of creating a sense of here to there. It's still a concept. It's still an idea, but it's this beautiful idea of the silence is within us. And the closer we get to stillness, the greater the knowing and the greater the love will reveal itself to us. And that's the opposite of what most of us have been taught and learned. It's a beautiful metaphor. I really like that. Be still and know that I am God is an expression of, if you go deep enough, the principles will reveal themselves to you. You don't discover the principles. They show you the way. They guide you, they illuminate you, they help you intuit and sense the something greater. They help you connect more deeply in your relationships. It's neat that it works that way, that we all work that way.
It is indeed neat. One of the things I sometimes say is that when you go deep enough into this work, you wind up saying things like neat, cool, wow, because that's kind of all that's left. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation as much as we enjoyed having it. If you want to keep the conversation going and take it deeper, join us in February 22nd to the 25th in Ojai, California, where Dick and Natasha and I will be exploring silent mind, beautiful feeling, experiencing the heart of the three principles. And you can learn more at michaelneill.org/silent mind. Until next time, have fun, learn heaps. I'll talk with you soon.